Thank you. Move the square here so it's not in the slides. And thank you very much.
Hi, everyone I love this PowerPoint, by the way. Wow. Sorry, that just kind of took me off guard. It's so beautiful. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I have my back to the live audience here, but it's good to see everybody at home there. My name is Tanya Hertz. I'm the director of the Rec Innovation Lab, and we're here today with one of our favorite advisors, mentors, and really guides in this whole entrepreneurship process, Rose Bolus, who is an attorney and an expert in working with startups, and she's helped so many startups in so many different ways. And she's here today to tell us how we can take advantage of this new world of AI and how we can learn to use it right and use it in such a way that we get answers that are actually useful, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
wonderful. So I'll pass it over to Rose. Rose,
Okay.
Thank you for being here. Thank you, Rose.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'm going to say two hellos. Hello to each of you who have come here today in person, and hello to everybody out there in online. You are here for artificial intelligence and the law. If you're not, let me know and I'll politely escort you out. We can get started. It's not moving. Thank you. All right. So my name is Rose Bolus, and I'm an attorney here in San Diego. I have my own law firm, and my firm specializes in securities, commodities, and financial services. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's okay. You could just call me a business lawyer. And I do work with startups as was described. Happy to be here. I'm a mentor here at the Rec Innovation Lab. I've been a mentor for several years. So anybody interested in becoming a mentor, come see me about it. And I'll tell you all the wonderful things that are going on here at the Rec. And then a few things, some housekeeping for today. Anything I say obviously is not legal advice, just my opinion, observations, perspectives that I bring on the topic. I am not an AI expert. I don't purport to be one and hope that no one construes me as one, but if you do, I'm flattered, but doing the best here I can to give you some really great insights on things I've learned about AI and the law. And then the only other thing I want to say about this slide is I've written here, in the age of AI, I consider myself now to be a legal strategist, because legal information is free-flowing. And, you know, my clients often find information themselves online and even using some of these AI platforms, and they want to know what I think about the answers that they've obtained and how it's relevant to their businesses. So therefore, I am not an information keeper, I am a strategist. So, and for any other attorneys out there that are looking to incorporate AI into their law firms or their practice of law, I suggest they really understand, like, you know, information versus strategy, and how do you bring value to the client now other than, you know, reciting statutes and such. Okay, so why use AI for the law? First and foremost, everyone will agree lawyers are expensive, but they've always been known to be gatekeepers of legal information. Once upon a time, you'd go see a lawyer and you'd be like, hey, I've got this question. Tell me about the law. How does it apply to me? Well, you can ask AI that now. So gatekeepers of information no more. Lawyers still use data sources that are now available through AI to everyone. Machine learning models are trained on these data resources and are accessible to regular people. So again, lawyers have their databases and their forms and their libraries, and now a lot of the AI companies out there are purporting to use that information to provide information to their users. Startups can now ask AI to help explain terminology and legal requirements, as we will see later in the presentation. which is fascinating because you used to be able to Google it, right? And go to the Secretary of State website and kind of find information and do a lot of research. Now you just ask a question and see what comes up. And, you know, for a good portion of it, it's accurate because it's pulling it from the website for you to address your question. And then startups can use AI to discover what a lawyer might advise using fact patterns and hypothetical scenarios. So if you have something going on with your business and you want AI to know kind of contextually, you know, what's going on and then ask your question, you'd be amazed to see what the answers can be given the context that you present. So again, not quite a lawyer, but pretty close. You're going to get some really great responses. So the big elephant in the room is it reliable? Is the information I'm getting reliable? And I'd have to say that, you know, if you ask AI, I wouldn't rely on it at this point, not at least not 100%, but it's going to give you an indication of what's out there. And there's likely going to be some good, you know, snippets of information that you're going to get and take with you. But it's also kind of going to lead you down the path of where to focus your research, right? It's not going to be so overwhelming like it once was. But not all AI is created equal. Different models are trained differently, and so output may vary, right? And for purposes of my presentation today, I've actually pulled some of the information and posed questions to Bing, powered by AI. Which I think is one of the more reliable and safer platforms to operate on, but that's, again, we could talk about that later. Information AI provides is mostly accurate, but not entirely, so they're working on it. And then AI is known to make up information if it thinks it sounds logical and good. I don't know if many of you have been on ChatGPT or other platforms where you ask them something and, you know, these models are pulling data from all different sources and including some, you know, fictional situations where they might think, oh, in this case, maybe I should be fictional because it sounds good and it looks like it's going to be logically correct, but it ends up not being correct, right? So need to be careful there. So when I pulled being powered by AI, this is the first thing I read. Let's learn together. Bing is powered by AI, so surprises and mistakes are possible. They tell you right there. Make sure to check the facts. Okay, that's why I'm going to you for the facts. But you're telling me to give you the facts. So that's probably not a good statement to make, but at the end of the day, they want your feedback. So clearly, and later in the presentation, you'll see that I've posed some questions and the AI was wrong. And I actually questioned the AI, but we'll get to that. But yeah. Okay, so, and I'm going to ask for some participation in here. So major players in the AI game. I mean, you've all heard of OpenAI, right? ChatGPT, Microsoft's Copilot for 365 and Bing powered by AI. And then Google just came out with Bard, I believe it's called Bard, and then case text for the lawyers in the room or folks who are interested in understanding, you know, platforms that actually have data sets that are based on lawyer stuff. CoCounsel is really an amazing platform for everybody to use, not just lawyers. I'm giving a very, you know, big secret away here. So, you know, definitely something to check out. I don't know if anybody else has any platforms they want to throw out here as being a major player that I've missed. Anyone? Nope. Okay. Nothing major. Okay, so these are the ones I think are pretty big. I'm sure there's Adobe that's coming out with its own. And then you know, I think there's some other startup or early stage companies that are starting to do things with AI that are becoming super duper popular. I believe Beautiful AI, which is what I tried to use for my presentation today, and I wasn't able to do it. But yeah, so there are a lot of players out there, and you know, feel free to chat some other major people out online if you've heard of some. I'd love to know more about the major players.
I knew, and I think somebody else said the same thing online too.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Okay, so the presentation today is really focused on how do you optimize asking the AI platform your question regarding legal matters. First and foremost, the platform will tell you, mostly with all the answers it comes up when you say lawyer, law, legal, it'll say, I can't advise you on legal matters, which is completely understandable. But it will attempt to give you some information, right? And depending on how much of an expert you are in the law, right, will determine what sort of answers you're going to get back and how specific they are. So I tried asking the, Bing for powered by AI, some questions. And I started with one that, was, what are the laws for small business owners in California for compliance, licenses, and filings? And as you'll see in a moment, that wasn't a very good question. The answer actually came back as, I have no idea, I think. And I thought, well, let's get a little bit more creative here and maybe pose the question a different way, right? And give it some more context. So then I asked, assume that you are a California lawyer and need to prepare a presentation for small business owners about using AI for business compliance, licenses, and filings. What would the contents of the slides look like? So here's what I got. As an AI language model, I am not authorized to provide legal advice, right? Right off the bat, a disclaimer. It's learning. However, I can tell you that AI can be used for business compliance, licenses, and filings, and here are some possible contents, right? So an introduction to AI and its benefits for business compliance. Totally right, obvious. Overview of the current state of business compliance and how AI can help. Examples how AI currently being used in business compliance, how AI can help with licenses and filings, and the future of AI in business compliance. That sounds like a really acceptable answer, but not enough information for me to do anything with it. So, all right, I'm disappointed already. So what I decided to do was build questions on the answer. I started having a conversation with the system. And here are some questions I asked it. You recommended a slide with contents indicating an introduction to AI and its benefits for business compliance. What would this slide say exactly? Or you recommended a slide with contents indicating an overview of the current state of business compliance and how AI can help. What would this slide say exactly? And here's what it told me. Okay, I'm going to see if I can read this here. I'm going to move here so I can read this out for you all. Artificial intelligence is a powerful tool that can help businesses stay compliant with regulations in the law. AI can help businesses identify potential compliance issues before they become problems. Again, more in-depth answer for an example slide. And then the second one is business compliance is a complex and ever-changing field. Companies must comply with a wide range of regulations. So it's starting to kind of get into the weeds a little bit more about what the slides would say and how to present it, which is great. It's giving me more meat, right, to the bone, but still not quite enough because some of the terminology in these paragraphs, I have no idea, well, I do, but people getting these answers likely don't know what it means. So then what do we do? Well, again, we would try to ask the AI a different way. In some cases, if you ask a question, I said in this case, same question as before, except the contents need to address how to take investors into a company. So now I'm getting a little bit more specific as to, how do I take investors for my company? And as you'll see in a moment, there was no answer to that. The AI didn't know how to answer that. So then I asked it again, what legal considerations should businesses think about before taking investments from investors? Trying different ways to approach the platform and ask questions with context and building on the answers seems to be working better at providing me more and more information. And so here are some of the responses we got. As I had mentioned earlier with the first question, it said, I'm sorry, but I couldn't find any specific information on how AI can help small business owners in California. So it basically recited my question and it said, I can't help you. But with the other question, it clearly started giving me a better answer. And it even took me in more depth on terminology with respect to laws around taking investment, such as the SEC Reg D, and some of the other, formalities that need to be met in order to take an investment. I will let you read this at your leisure. It's very interesting, and waiting for AI to be able to explain things in a way that takes the solid information and softens it so people who aren't familiar with the terminology can understand it better. They're not quite there yet, but I know there's some AI platforms that do that. And they're more like, startups, newer companies that's starting to break down answers that AI provides. All right, so getting into the weeds, that's fine. Asking specific questions and kind of building on the answers is good, except you don't want to get lost in information overload, because there's some questions that AI can actually provide pages on, and you don't want to kind of get too overwhelmed. And here's some questions that sort of yield those types of answers for me. What are some AI tools for legal compliance? And how do AI tools help with legal compliance? And I use the term legal compliance to mean anything legal related with your business that needs to be addressed, either filing or, some sort of, information keeping requirement or something like that. And so here are some answers. There are several AI tools that can help startups with legal compliance. Here are some examples. Harvey AI, an artificial intelligence startup backed by an OpenAI managed investment fund. So they're giving some, two very helpful places to go. Case text, I talked about case text earlier. And those are just a few examples. If I wanted to build on this, what question would I ask next after getting this response? Anybody want to, I know you can't really see it. So you would build on the response. So if it's saying these two as an examples, then I would then follow up with a question asking, well, what are some other examples that focus on property law, right? So then it'll look into other platforms that help with AI and property law. And then having to do with investment. So taking investors for purposes of buying a building or something like that. So you get the gist. I'll let you read this at your leisure, but the answers definitely build and get more specific, but try not to get lost in the weeds is the point. Okay, now the fun part. All right. How long until lawyers are replaced by AI? Anybody have a guess? Yes.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Just like they said that the internet was gonna make real estate agents go away. It's not gonna be.
Yeah, I'm about to show you the answer that the AI provided to me on this question.
Oh, you asked this to AI, okay.
Okay. Yes. Okay. AI is revolutionizing the legal sector by providing benefits such as improved legal research, increased efficiency, and predictive analytics. AI can analyze large amounts of legal documents, cases, and legislations, and act as a legal advisor in the future. Love that. In the future, not now. AI is already being used to review contracts, find relevant documents, discovery process, and conduct legal research. However, AI is not ready to replace human judgment in the legal profession. Human judgment. So AI is recognizing that it doesn't have the human judgment element that goes along with actually responding to another human. Right? So, yeah. Will legal fees be reduced in the future due to AI? Does anybody know? Does anybody guess?
Again, is this according to AI?
Well, I'm going to tell you what AI said about this, but okay. The use of AI in the legal sector has the potential to increase efficiency and reduce the time required for certain tasks, such as document reviews, etc. Right? All the kind of the menial tasks or the redundancy that lawyers may find and bill for, right? But AI is not capable of replacing human judgment. So again, it's that judgment, it's that ethics, it's that understanding, empathy, compassion, the feelings piece of responding to somebody. Human lawyers will still be needed to provide legal advice, represent clients in court, and perform other tasks that require human judgment and expertise. I'm not surprised with the answer, and I don't know if anybody else is here. but a lot of people out there are hoping that lawyers get replaced ASAP. Okay. Another fun thing, and it's an almost over slide, and I go to thank you and we can ask questions, but I have two other slides at the very, very end that I think are amusing. But for purposes of the presentation, I thought to ask AI, well, how do I end this presentation? Like, well, how would you conclude? What would you want the audience to take away from this topic? If I were, okay. So the question I wrote was, if I was a lawyer just presented on AI and the law, the last slide of my presentation might say something like this. In conclusion, AI is revolutionizing the legal sector by providing benefits such as improved legal research, increased efficiency, and predictive analytics. While AI is not yet ready to replace human judgment in the legal profession, it can assist lawyers in many ways. It can assist lawyers in many ways and help start up state compliant legal regulations. As AI continues to advance, it will be important for lawyers and businesses to stay up to date and latest developments and leverage the power of AI to improve their operations. Thank you for your attention. Now, for being powered by AI, I only got 20 questions allowed, which is very interesting because I just happened to time it that way. But I have a feeling that the AI companies are starting to set people up to become dependent on these platforms, so that you're going to need them so much that you're going to end up paying for additional time. And that's important because just like anything, too much of a good thing is not a good thing. So you want to make sure that you leverage a lot of the platforms out there, shop around and decide what's a good fit for what's happening to you and your business, because not all platforms are the same. So let's break for a minute and see if anybody has any questions at this point. I don't know if anything's been formulating. Yes, Angela.
So you said it only gave you 20 questions. That is for a duration or a specific time period, like 24 hours, or is that in
just one, so one question and answer period? I'm able to clear it and start over.
Okay.
I used being powered by AI because I feel as though some of the bigger platforms like Microsoft or Apple doesn't quite have anything yet, I don't think, but I just don't trust these other AI companies. So, that's why I went with Bing. But if I wanted to start a new Q&A with Bing, I would just wipe out the last 20 questions and start over. I don't know why they limited it to 20 questions. So, and if anybody here knows why, I'd love to hear it, but that's all.
and then just
Good.
Yeah.
Yes, Patrick.
I've seen that AI is a lot of if then statements or if else statements, so maybe you reach the point where if else, it might overflow the process value.
Okay. So basically the computing power, right, behind the AI for each individual that's using it, you stop at 20 and give it a break, right? That's what I'm hearing. Okay, well, that makes sense. That makes sense. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, go ahead.
What are some of the harms that you think that the AI brings to the table for businesses?
At this point, so the question was, what sort of harms do you think AI brings to the table for businesses as it relates to law? Yeah, so I think the accuracy of some of the information that I've seen while testing some of the platforms is not quite there. However, you've heard the saying, take your issue to a lawyer and every lawyer is going to answer it differently. Kind of the same thing here, that some AI will have exposure to different data sets and others will not. Like case text, obviously, or LexisNexis, they're huge, that lawyers use them every day for templates and resources, and they're implementing AI now. So that's where I would go personally for legal information. I would not go to Bing, but I did go to Bing, but for purposes of the transaction. So it really depends on what you're using. So if you're using, Google or whoever for legal questions or just information, I would say that it's dangerous, because if you make the wrong move or you try to do something yourself and it wasn't the right information, right, you could put your business at risk. However, I was talking about lawyers being strategists, right, in the era of AI. If I had a client that said, hey, Rose, I put this question into my AI platform and this is what it spit out. Is this what I'm really supposed to do? What's the gap? and I'll say, oh, you're supposed to revisit your certificate of your certificate of incorporation. You need to list out preferred stock or something like that the AI failed to say. So it's good to have a separate pair of eyes, right? But the legal fees will be less, right? Because now it's looking over the answer and saying, is this right? And lawyers could be more of a guide. And some lawyers won't touch it. They'll be like, no, I'm not going to look at the AI results. Either go with my information, or you can go find a lawyer that wants to fill in the gap. So you're going to get all sorts of legal counsel out there in terms of like, you know, how they want to participate with AI, but yeah, it's, oh, yeah. Yes.
You emphasize the importance of providing context. Have you played around with kind of like importing your own data and maybe stuff with your own decisions to feed the model?
So I tried out case text, and I did that with a document, and you know, to see, first of all, it was a publicly available document.
Okay.
I was not gonna publish any or put up any of my personal contracts or anything like that. But the public, but it did really do a great job with extracting the data and telling me what it was about, what are the highlights important. But at this point, it's still the Wild West. There's no regulation. And privacy, it's just, there's so many things to consider. So everyone using AI today is essentially basically telling the platform if they're uploading or if they're saying something. It's just building upon the AI, but at the same time, there's so many things, so many legal issues that are going to arise from this. They're just not coming up for air yet. So as to your question, I personally have uploaded public documents, but I have not myself, and I'm fearful if I do, because it's going to end up somewhere else someday.
Yes.
But at the same time, which is very interesting, a lot of us use like Google Docs or apps or such that are already selling data in the aggregate. So, you may find that you see something familiar, so at the end of the day, the AI is going to get better and better and better, and the resources and the data out there is going to get, more robust. Eventually, privacy, I don't necessarily know that privacy is going to be an issue anymore, because everything's going to be out there, especially with blockchain, just everyone knowing what everything is at every given time. So it's a challenge for the privacy lawyers and the IP lawyers, because so I overly answered your question.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, how are you doing? Good.
So kind of going off the last question, I don't know too much about AI, but I know that a lot of people have been kind of playing around giving them their AI, their bank information and all this private information. So to what extent would you give information about your business to Sam?
Yeah.
How far should you go with feeding into them?
Yeah. So, it's very interesting. A lot of people don't know this, but like if you're a public company, right, and you're filing your 10K or your public filings, there's a system called Edgar. And Edgar, when you're a public company and you Edgarize something or you put it out and file, like the whole world has access to your business information, right? And a lot of that includes like officers, directors, or 10% shareholders and whatnot, and where they reside or their age. So believe it or not, the more high profile your business becomes, the more transparent you're going to need to be. There's still privately held companies and they're still private, and financials are still like under NDAs. But at the end of the day, like if you plan on having an IPO or, just being out there, you just got to make sure that you fully understand that some of your information will end up out there. And forget about the law. Look at real estate sites and, the recorder's office. There's so much out there that AI just grabs from. Some of these not privacy companies, like they're, find who lives here and all the information about them. They've got companies out there monetizing people's information already. So I don't know if AI is really going to change things other than make it easily more available to you. But as a business owner, I worry about your social, right? And any kind of, password, what do you call that? Extra security passwords or things about you. But, in the age of social media too, they figure it out. The AI will be like, oh, she lives in Southern California on that street, whatever. And their kids go to that school. So I don't know if anything could ever remain private anymore anyway.
I just want to add to that, a lot of people don't realize that when they put things into like, for example, ChatGPT, whatever information you put into there is used to train the model. So whatever you don't want other people to know, you probably shouldn't put in there, so.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I have a couple fun slides here. So how do you start a business with no money and without a lawyer? It's okay, I know you asked. And rec mentors give better responses to that. So, you know, if you're not familiar with the rec and you're visiting us, please do reach out to somebody here at the rec, a mentor or whatnot. We'd love to have you. This is a plug for the rec because I absolutely adore this program. And I'll tell you, it's amazing what the founders are doing here. But in terms of this question, you can clearly see that, it gives you some good information, but then, it's still now what, right? So it's almost like people try to use AI to avoid wasting time on things, but in reality, it's just gonna bring you right back to having to spend time with, on subjects. So I would argue that humans are gonna be more intelligent rather than less intelligent with AI, because AI is gonna teach them things they don't know, so. Okay, and this one's interesting. I posed questions to AI now more in depth with what I do. And I asked, do shareholders have to approve a convertible note issuance? So that's like a form of an investment document. Or is it just the board that needs to approve? And the AI told me, yes, the shareholders of a company must pass a resolution to give the board of directors the authority. Okay, so it gives me an answer. And I'm like, that's a good answer, but I don't think that it's entirely correct. So I wrote, I typed, are you sure? Some jurisdictions may not require a shareholder vote to issue convertible note, right? And it was like processing. And finally, he's like, you are correct. So I'm going to frame this in my office because the AI told me that I'm correct, which is like, I don't know anybody else is ever going to get that. The requirements for issuing convertible notes by jurisdiction, in some jurisdictions, issuing convertible note requires approval by the shareholders. In others, the board of directors may have the authority to issue convertible without shareholder approval. So clearly, the answer it was giving me was not entirely correct. And there's no I'm sorry and I'll work on it, it's like you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Anyway, so that is it. If anybody has any questions or wants to get a hold of me, there's my email. Sorry, I was in and out here for all of you online, but if you do have any questions or want to follow up or just geek out with me, there's my email.
Thank you.
You want to see if there's questions online?
Yeah, let me check the chat.
Okay. Okay.
Might be a couple, so.
Have you tried re-asking the same question?
No, I can't.
Okay. Thank you.
But I am
thank
going to frame that.
you. Okay. Maybe they don't know how to learn too much from one source. That's Deanna,
Yeah.
and hopefully never. And I didn't know all of those were available, all the different platforms, and everyone just said thank you.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Have a great afternoon, and we will see you soon. Thank you. Take care. Bye, guys. Thanks.